right. I think next we have Mitch. Mitch looks like who we have coming up next.
Hi.
Hey, Mitch. Good to talk to you.
Hi, Mitch.
Likewise.
And
So,
I understand.
Start with just.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We're listening. You go ahead.
I'm just trying to get a hang of the delay. That's all.
Okay. A little bit low. I'm not sure. Maybe it's my volume on my end. Does he sound soft to you, Jenna?
Sounds a little soft. If you could possibly turn up the volume on your phone just a tiny bit, or
better now?
Yes, that's better.
All right.
Cool. All right. So let me just give you a little bit of background of myself. I wasn't an excellent student growing up. I did manage to get myself into New York University. I studied clinical psychology, early childhood development. I did leave that school early. I wasn't comfortable with what I was studying. To be honest with you, it was one of the most depressing fields. I thought I would go in it saving the world, and I didn't know who was going to save me. So I went into the world after college, trying to make my way. And I had this experience. And this experience is as honest and as clear as I can give it to you. This is what happened. So it started on a Saturday. I was extremely tired that day. I was roughly 19. I was 19 years old. I get home, and my parents are cooking. They're in the kitchen. They're making something. It's about 5 o'clock. 1:45, I walked in the house. I asked them what they're doing. They said, we're making dinner. We'll be ready in about a half hour or so. I said, okay, I'm going to go upstairs, get changed, and lay down. So I lay down in my bed, and I'm laying down. I have this weird sensation, and I didn't know what it was. It almost felt like a low blood sugar or something to that nature. A bit jittery, woozy, tired. Odd feeling. Then I feel as if and I started to get a little nervous because it felt as if my ceiling in my room was up against my face to the point where I had to turn my head to fit in the space between my bed and the ceiling. Keep in mind, I don't do drugs. Okay, I know that's on a lot of people's minds. That's not my thing. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drank since high school, literally, high school parties. I'm not a drinker. So I turn my head, and the next thing I know, I go out. Next thing I know, the lights come back on. But I realize I can't move. My head is stuck straight, looking straight, and I'm up against a wall. Now, for you to understand or image what I'm about to say, I want you to focus on this. Now, focus on a point about 3 to 4 feet away from you. Now, imagine that is the only place you can focus. So everything else moving into your line of sight is either blurry or out of focus. That was the extent of my abilities, was to see within this small aperture, this area of clarity, which always looks blurry until something moves into your field of view that is where your eyes are focused, right? I just want to leave you with that. So I'm against this wall, and I realize I'm completely nude because I can feel breeze like a draft. I'm like, what is going on right now? Now I'm thinking it's a dream. I'm trying to wake myself up. Nothing happens. I notice in my peripherals, now imagine just staying focused, in my peripherals to my right and to my left, quite a distance away, not my immediate right and left because I can't see that in my field of view, but several spaces down, let's say, on both sides, I notice there's silhouettes of other people. Now I can't make them out too clearly, but I know they're there, and I know they have their eyes closed. So here I am laying or standing as if I'm laying, and I cannot move. I can't make much of a sound other than a bit of a grunt, whatever you can do with a normal breathing rhythm. And I see, coming from left to right, a figure. So I try to alert this person. Now, mind you, at this time, I don't even know. I have no idea what's going on. I'm thinking maybe that's my mother and something is wrong with me. I'm really sick. Maybe, so I'm trying to alert this person, and all I can do is grunt. As this person walks past me, they stop. They look at me. They step back, and they now enter my field of view. I can see her as clearly as you could see anything. Beautiful. Now, I'm not saying this like, oh, she's hot. No. She is beautiful. Mathematically perfect. Ideal symmetry. And I'm grunting. I'm like, trying to make this noise like to alert. And she looks at me and she says, oh. She looks to her over her right shoulder and she says, this one's awake. And then she looks at me again and she says, my name is Eve. And I'm like, what making this like noise because I can't move my lips. All I can do is make that type of noise. Like I'm pretty polite, so I probably said something along the line like hello, right? Like like. And then a man comes into view, whom she had signaled, and he pops into the clear spot where I'm focused, and he is equally beautiful. They look very similar, but again, perfect symmetry. And she says something to him, which I cannot make out. He looks at me. Now, I don't know if that's my own insecurities that I was feeling, but I felt as if at that moment, by his body language and the way he looked and looked at me, he was not impressed. He tells her something and then walks away as if he's pushing a cart of some sort, almost like a I don't know, like a meat cart almost, like something to that nature, and moves out of my field of view. She looks at me and she goes, don't worry. She goes, I'm going to give you something. And she turns around to a similar cart that I saw him walk past me with and takes something off of this cart and goes to hand it to me. Now, mind you, I'm stuck. I can't move. And I can only focus in this small little field of view. She goes to hand it to me, so only in a brief second did it pass through a point where I could somewhat see it. But the way it was lit, or the way, like, if your eyes are dilated from the optometrist, blurry, over bright, oversaturated, it's hard to tell what the image was. And it was a silhouette of something. Almost looked like a horse in the silhouette. It goes directly under my chin, under my field of view, where I can only see her wrists and her forearms. And then I go completely out. Black. The next thing I see is thousands of images, almost like I'm sitting an inch away from a projector screen, and they're flashing pictures, pop, 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 pop. And it felt like an eternity, like a long time. And they showed me which I could see and recall what I would say is every image, maybe not, but I could pretty clearly to this day see every single image that was presented to me then. And they showed me planets. They showed me weird creatures. They showed me abundance. I saw this one place was all gold, like it was a solid chunk of gold, like a meteor of gold, like what we've read about in the paper similar. And I started laughing when I saw that article that there's a meteor of gold, a comet of gold. There's all these different things. Basically abundance. Anything you would want from space to anything you would need is there. Now, I wake up. I'm laying in my bed. I get up, and I'm like, man, that was weird. I come downstairs. I go out of my room. I go downstairs, and there's nothing cooking. I pick up my phone. At this time, it was a Nextel. And I look at my phone. It's 5:35. So I'm like, where did everybody go? I call my mother. My mother picks up the phone, and she goes, "Where were you?" I had like 26 missed calls on my phone. I go, "What do you mean?" I was in my bedroom. Where'd you guys go? They tell me, "Oh, we went up to get you for dinner. You weren't in there." So that night, me and your father went down to the beach house. My family has a small house down the shore. She goes, "I figured you went out with your friends."
How many
I said, "Well,
hours?
I'm starving."
How many hours did you say it was?
I'm sorry?
How many hours did you say it was?
It was only 30. It was 24 hours and 30 minutes because it was 5:30 on Sunday. I laid down at 5 o'clock on Saturday.
So we have some.
And
some
my parents had
time
gone
lost
into the room to wake me up for dinner, and I wasn't there.
Is it experiences like this that have caused you to believe in aliens, correct?
Well, that was a bizarre experience. And it's not necessarily that I believe in aliens, right? We're aliens. So to say you don't believe in aliens is to say you don't believe in yourself. We're walking on different rocks and sending probes all over the space. So obviously aliens exist by some definition, right?
I'm talking about non-humans.
And human, there's no such thing. So we are the highest. Yeah, we are the highest order of life form. There's nothing higher.
What do you mean by higher? Just to clarify, because
highest order.
I don't know what that means.
Highest order.
The highest order. So let's look at an ant versus a human.
Okay.
Right. There's obviously a difference in capability, cognitively, both to produce. It really derives around our necessity for comfort. That's the difference between us and
okay, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are we talking about how, like, where on the food chain humans are, or are you talking about a supernatural claim?
As a life, no, I'm talking about as a life form. We are the highest order.
So
we are
there was
the most advanced.
There was a old classification system called the chain of being, with, but it included gods and angels and stuff. But then it had humans, and then underneath it there were animals, and then underneath that maybe like fungus or plants, and then fungus down to like microscopic organisms. Is it a system like that you're evoking?
Well, yes, correct. In that chain of being, we only give God and angel. We only put that stuff ahead of us because we know there must be something. We assume there must be something, but we don't know what it is.
But you don't think there's
us
anything.
Having to name everything, right? For us having to name anything, we just say it's God for the time being.
Okay,
and God will always be there because something else. We may find a more evolved version of our species.
What is it
received on that chain as a higher order? But
what is it? Hold on. What is it about us that makes you think that we're superior to the ant? Because there's ways that ants are way, way superior to humans.
Well, I'm not sure that has anything to do with what we want to talk about, though. Because
that's a bit off topic from what the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
We can discuss that because there's a lot of reasons why, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather talk about why you believe
Ants don't produce art. They don't do things because it makes them feel
good.
They do
sweetheart, love, babe, I'm so sorry. That can be a fun conversation for another day, but today we would like to get to any kind of supernatural claims, any kind of alien experiences. So if you don't believe that aliens exist, then I'm not sure what we're getting at.
The supernatural part of it. How's this? If you don't mind me finish. Since that day.
Well, but the reason that we wanted to interrupt a little bit and try to figure out where you're going is because this sounds a little bit like narcolepsy, or something along those lines. So we can talk about that if that's what you're getting at. But if you have a claim about aliens, we'd rather talk about that.
Yeah, this is like
okay, So that's the event that happened to me, and now I can tell you the changes that have happened to me as a result. So
well, but what
is
your point? What is the claim that you're trying to back up here?
What do you think happened?
Yeah, I was going to get to that, but yeah. So to sum that up, what happened is that I was collected. Many of us are collected. Almost every single person will be collected at one point or another.
What does that mean? Collected.
We are just like we collect animals in the Serengeti, and we put a tag on them, and we check their blood, and we check that they're healthy, and we see where they're going and what they're doing, and then we put them back.
I've never done that.
Well, zoological societies typically do that.
But I don't know what that has to do with us being collected.
So we're basically human beings, from my understanding of what happened to me, it's like a game preserve, this planet. It's a game preserve.
Why are we comparing ourselves to animals? Sorry, why are we comparing humanity to a game preservation?
Because of the purpose of our existence.
And what is that?
Food.
Food. We're food?
To be food or to eat food?
Okay, so that's why it would have helped you a little bit if I was able to finish a part of that.
Well, we want you to fill in that now.
Now, keep in mind, I was trained as a psychologist. I'm familiar with a lot of sleep paralysis, different types of psychoses. I've devoured the entire DSM-4 or 5, any type of document like that. I understand these things. None of that is what I experienced.
How do you? So, what is it that you think you did experience? Hold on. What I'm trying to figure out is you're talking about these experiences, and you're talking about us being collected, and you're talking about us being game. But let's try to figure out what it is that you believe when you say that you believe that we as humans all will be collected. What does that mean? Who collected by who? Collected? How do we know that we will be collected? Have I been collected? How will I know? What do you mean by collected?
You odds are that you won't know. Your grasp for control of everything is your biggest issue with the understanding of it. So we all get collected, right? We all at some point get touched. We get tested, just like you would. I don't know if you're not familiar with game preserves and what we do with animals or dyeing the tusks on elephants so poachers don't kill them. We count them. We fly around in helicopters, right?
I understand that people do that, but I don't know what that has to do with us.
It's a bit of a leap to say, oh, I had this experience, and that means that there's these beings that are collecting us, and the Earth is a game. It's a big leap. We just kind of want to know how you made it.
Well, they told me that.
Who did?
That's not necessarily the ones that put me on that craft or wherever I was. The ones that showed me those images. Eve.
So that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about who collected you and this craft. We want to talk about these experiences. We don't want to talk about why, you think that we are like game.
We understand they told you stuff about, but we need to let's get to the root of why you believe that this
that you were collected.
Hallucination,
right, so the ones that collected me look exactly like us.
Okay.
The what that collected you? You said you don't believe in aliens.
As a human, just look at yourself in the mirror. They're human.
So another human came and collected you. I'm going to interrupt now a few times here and there just to make sure that we're following you and that we're not just going in circles. So you're saying that another human collected you?
A human-like creature, yeah.
A human-like creature
from Earth.
But you don't believe. You just said though that you don't believe in aliens at all.
I'm sorry?
You said at the beginning of this call that you don't believe in aliens.
So what was it?
No, I said it's not that I believe in aliens or anything like it. It's not about aliens, okay? This is about a more advanced race of beings that are very genetically similar to ours.
Are they a different species? Are they the same species as us? Are they from Earth? Are they from another planet? Another dimension?
I don't know where they're from. I just know their purpose.
So let's call them aliens just for lack of a better word.
To us.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Can we call them aliens just for lack of a better word?
Because
I don't care what you call them.
Okay. Yeah, so you're collected by aliens.
Yeah. So these aliens collected me. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, when you say alien, people think green men, gray, big eyes, weird.
Well, I don't know what else. When you say human-like creature, that doesn't really paint much of a different picture.
You're talking about like beautiful people that they're beautiful people that they're humans. They're just like really perfect and whatnot. That could define an alien. There's nothing to say aliens can't look exactly like us or like perfect humans. So we're not trying to disparage what you're saying by saying, oh, they're little green men. No, we just want to have a word to use for them to differentiate them from like you being kidnapped by a government agency or something and sedated or something along those lines.
Well, so, I haven't even gotten to that part yet. And just so you know, I know this sounds very far-fetched and science fictional, okay? But after those days, and I just want to add this in there, after those days happened, things changed with me. My hands have built things that my body, that me as a person should not have the capacity to build.
Okay.
Okay, I have a world record for the world's fastest streetcar. I was a joint on-site contractor for the arsenal and developed ordnance.
Well, I'd really rather talk about why you're convinced that you were collected. I'd like to know more about that, not what happened afterward. What is this collection? What happened? Where did you go?
All right, so I tried to give you my testimony there to as clear as I could. So I don't know where it took me. All I know is I was under its control.
How do you know?
Aliens' control.
Okay, so hold on. So you were collected. I'm just, again, going to repeat everything that you said to see and correct me if I'm wrong at some point. You were collected by something that you don't know what it was, just that it was not actually human. And it collected you and it took you somewhere, but you don't know where.
It could have been a human. It could have been a human.
So why are we not calling it a human?
Because I've never seen a human do the things that it does.
What does it do?
But I've seen a human look like it.
What does it do?
So, well, the absolute control it has over everything that's there. So, like, we as humans, if we need to capture something, we put it in a box, right? We put it in a cage. We tie it down. There was nothing holding me down except for myself.
So
go ahead.
Something out of my bedroom.
I mean that can be induced. That can be induced by if for another person to do it, it can be induced by drugs, by sedatives. People wake up and have memories of waking up
out of my room past. Right, I understand that, but you would still have had to get me out of my room, 5'10", 165, past my parents.
But you don't know where you went.
To induce.
Right,
I wasn't even in my room. I lay down in my bed. I woke up in my bed 24 hours and 30 minutes later.
So what makes you think you left your bed?
My parents had looked for me. I'm sorry?
What makes you think you left your bed?
Because my parents, after I called them when I woke up, asked me where I was. I had 26 missed calls from my mother and my father.
So it sounds like
this wake me up after I went to lay down in bed. They went to wake me up for dinner, and I wasn't in there. They assumed I had gone out somewhere.
That sounds like this whole thing hinges on that factor. That really does seem like it hinges on the fact that your parents couldn't find you and you woke up in your room again. To explore that a little bit, I know you said you were experienced with some psychology stuff and whatnot. Have you ever experienced sleepwalking?
Never.
Where you wanted to,
Okay.
No.
So you said you started off
night terrors, no sleep paralysis.
So you started off this story.
No drug use.
Okay, so you started off this story and the very first thing that you said was that you were very, very tired. And then you started talking about this experience of being frozen and having tunnel vision and then having these visions, and then you were not reachable, and then you woke up and you were still in your bed, yet because you didn't answer your phone, you were under the impression that you somehow left your bed. Now, so what I'm saying is, hold on, real quick. All I would like to do is to clarify. So with everything that you have described to me, this sounds like a sleep disorder. And I'm just curious. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that with everything that you have learned about sleep disorders, why are you so convinced that this is not that?
Because there's not some place I would have hidden for 24 hours and 30 minutes.
So could you have been
there's
dreaming?
No sleep order that I'm aware of that keeps you asleep for over an hour or over a month or a day. That would be a serious problem. Nobody sleeps for over 24 hours. Okay.
Are you familiar with a condition called a hypnopompic hallucination? Are you familiar with that term?
I'm sorry. What part of hallucination?
It's called a hypnopompic hallucination. It happens basically a hallucination that you have while you're asleep that's really vivid, and you think it feels like it really happened. I just want to know if you're familiar with the term or not, or the phenomenon.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with lucid dreams.
No, he didn't ask you if you were familiar with. He didn't ask you if you were familiar with lucid dreams.
It was. This is a specific condition. So this is the homework I'm going to give you on this. Would be look into hypnopompic hallucinations and see if that sounds like it might be something plausible. But we really are interested in wanting to know how the military got involved in this. So if we could, as we got other calls waiting as well, but if we can get to that little window of this story, and then maybe we can pick it up next time, so we can get some other callers on.
So I was at this time I was studying and working with also the Arsenal, and I was trying to get a job there. I had gotten a job there about a year and a half later as a joint on-site contractor, working out issues for Joint Lethality and Munitions Division. I had brought it up to my CO one day. I said, here's a crazy story, because there was actually a memo that went around about phenomenon around the base. And I brought it up to my CO, and I said, hey, this is what happened to me. Several years, about a year and a half later, I was called in to an Air Force base, Luke Air Force Base, where multiple people had flurries of questions for me. And then from there, I went to meet with a individual, which I have their badge and their information. They're still a liaison to me. I've been around two devices, which I would consider very similar to what pop culture calls a TR-3B Astra. My wife saw it with me in our driveway at 3 o'clock in the morning, as clear as a bell, about 600 feet over my house. This is not an exaggeration. This is 100% factual, based on my account and also witnesses. This is not just some story. There's no reason for me to pound my chest and make myself look crazy on the radio. Okay? The point of what happened isn't what happened. The point of what happened is what was shown to me. And what was actually shown to me was deduced from the things that they showed to me. It was actually what they omitted in the thousands of images that they showed me. And it was all about time. Everything had to do with time. And what I was able to surmise after years of and listen, I'm a reasonably successful guy. People take me seriously. I do well. I have a nice home, wife, kids. I'm normal, all intents and purposes. Okay? They showed me that they can have whatever they want. The only problem is how long it takes to get there. They, whom took me, take us for something. They take something from us individually, and they use this to extend their own lives so they can reach those places where they have the resources they need. I believe the ones that took me are like the PETA on this intergalactic scale. And I believe they keep track, like we dye elephant tusks to discourage poachers. They do something and put markers on us to discourage from being taken from another source.
You know, this is
If they go ahead.
Oh, it's just we got to be wrapping up, but this has been quite a interesting story there. I do want to again recommend looking up that hypnopompic hallucinations, seeing if that's something along the lines of what you might have experienced. But we do got to pop over to the next call, though. If there's was there anything you wanted to close with? Any closing statement?
No, that's good. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask me. I hope I didn't bug you guys out, but listen, I can only tell it to you. I can't make you understand it.
Sure.
So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Well, we would appreciate, though, just if you would specifically look into that, because you say that you've learned a lot about psychology and a lot about these things that you say have nothing to do with this. Well, after you've learned about hypnopompic hallucinations, I'd like to know your thoughts on what you've experienced after you learned about it.
I will gladly reach back out to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you learned something. We all can. I learned something.